Very good morning, students. So this is our very first lecture of the next animal, which is the Ferritima posthuma. So students, commonly this is called as the earthworm, and the zoological name is the Ferritima posthuma. And this is the animal which you have seen commonly in the parks or in the grounds. So if we talk about this animal, first of all, if we talk about the habit of this animal, so it is inhabiting the moist places. It can be some garden or it can be some ground. So it makes the soil fertile. So everybody knows that this is the friend of the farmer. So if we talk about the habits of this animal, it is quite active and it is showing the burrowing process, and it can live deep in the soil because it is not having any kind of external skeleton to protect itself from the heat of the environment. So that's why in habit it is burrowing and it is living under the soil. Now this burrow is lined by a slime layer, so that is lubricating the path of this earthworm when it is going inside the burrow. So it is always secreting a slime layer over itself. Now if we talk about the locomotion of this animal is by setae and contractions of the body. It is feeding on decaying organic matter which is found in the soil. So it is excreting some worm castings, and these castings, they are present in the form of heaps which you can find on the ground. Now these heaps of worm castings, they are very good fertilizers and they are very high in NPK values. So you can use that fertilizer in your garden, and that is called as the vermicompost. So if we talk about the breeding of this particular animal, so it is generally in the rainy seasons. It is a hermaphrodite animal. So both the male and the female organs, they are present in the same individual. But the fertilization process is always cross. So two earthworms will fertilize each other. So that will be taken in the reproductive system. Now, if we take the defense system of this animal, so it is ejecting some smelling coelomic fluid. So that smells very bad. So it is ejecting out the coelomic fluid which is present inside this animal through dorsal pores which are present inside all the segments of the body. So if you see this particular animal, it is belonging to the phylum Annelida. So the major characteristic of the phylum Annelida is that the body is segmented, and the segmentation is of metameric type. So metameric refers to the segmentation that can be seen from outside and that is present inside also. So that is a kind of metameric segmentation. Now, if we talk about some regeneration power of this animal, so it has got a good power of regeneration. So if it is cut into pieces, it may regenerate its body. So it has got some power of regeneration also. If we talk about the economic importance of this animal, as you can get some short question on the economic importance of earthworm. So here we take the gain or the loss to the environment. Now if we take the useful acts of Ferritima, then the usefulness of this animal may be like it can improve the soil, it can improve the porosity of the soil, it can improve the aeration of the soil, and it is making the soil more fertile by its feces or worm castings. Now, if we take the food, it is again it is a food for many of the animals. So that is a part of the food chain. So birds can eat easily this Ferritima posthema. It is also acting as a natural scavenger. So it is eating on the debris. So if you have any kind of debris, it can eat anything except plastics. So now some of the scientists, they are also taking up the plastics as a food for Ferritima posthema. They are experimenting on that also. And if we take this animal for scientific study, it also proves to be a very good scientific model for different studies. So that is again a useful or a benefit of this animal. And this is also used as a fish bait to catch fishes. So these were some of the useful acts of this animal. And if we talk about the harmful aspects of Ferritima, then it may damage some of the crops, it may spoil the grounds, it can cause to some extent very less, but it may cause soil erosion. So it may also function as the intermediate host for some of the parasites. So these are some of the harmful aspects of Ferritima posthema. Now students, we are taking up the external features of this animal. So as it is belonging to the phylum Annelida, first of all it is segmented, it is quite narrow, it is cylindrical, it has got no appendages for its movement. So there is no distinct head in this particular animal, and it is dark brownish in color. So as you have seen previously, it is dark brown in color. So if we talk about first of all the segmentation, I am just zooming into this particular earthworm. So if you see the segments, this is a particular segment, suppose this is a segment, and this is the second segment, and the groove which is present in between these two segments is called as the annulus. So it has got very huge number of segments. So we've got annuli in between the segments. So the body can have like 120 or 150 segments depending upon the type of the species. But in Ferritima, the body has got near to 120 segments. So these segments, they are also called as the metameres. So in growth, whenever the earthworm is growing, these segments, they increase in number. Now we are talking about the metameric segmentation. Now students, the body of the earthworm is divided into segments, and these segments are also divided from the inside. So there are present septa in between the segments. Now here you can very well see the segment number 14, 15 and 16, they are considered to be as the clitellum of this earthworm. So if you take the example of earthworm, if you see this particular image, so this part of the body, these are the segment number 14, then we have the 15 and the 16 of the body. So these three segments, they are making a particular part of the body which is called as the clitellum. Now this image is showing you the two sides of the earthworm. If you see this image, this is the dorsal side of the earthworm, and this is the ventral side of the earthworm. Now we were talking about the clitellar part. So these three segments, these are the 14, 15 and 16th segments present over here. So this particular part is called as the clitellum. Now this is a band-like structure which is present over the earthworm, and it is secreting the materials for the formation of the egg case. So that will be taken on in the reproductive system. So it is secreting the egg case. So this is the thing that you should remember. Now, the body of the earthworm is divided into three major parts. The first part is, it is the preclitellar part. So up till here, it is the preclitellar part. Then we have the clitellum or the clitellar part. So from here up till the end of the body, it is the postclitellar part. So the first preclitellar part has got 13 segments, because we have got the 14th segment over here in the clitellum. So we have got 13 segments from the mouth up till this part. We have got 14th, 15th and 16th in the clitellum. Then from 17th onwards, we have got the postclitellar part of the body. So that was about the body and the segments of the body. Now, if we take the locomotion in this particular animal, it has got some structures which are called as setae. This particular diagram is showing you the setae of the earthworm. So this is a magnified image of earthworm at 400x magnification. Now here you can see this is a single seta of earthworm. This is another seta of earthworm. And these are present in ringed form over each segment. So there can be many setae in a single segment. So here you have another seta, then we have another seta. So they are present in the ring form over the segment. Now the setae, they are not present on the first and the last segment. So except the first and the last segment, all the segments they have got these setae for locomotion. Now these are small swellings or the spine-like structures which are present on the earthworm, and they are present in the invaginations of the epidermis. So that invagination is called as the satigerous sac. So all the setae, they are present in these satigerous sacs. So one seta is present in a satigerous sac. Now we will be taking up the structure of a single satigerous sac. Now here you can find out two setae which are present in their sacs. So students, here you can very well see that this is a single seta which is present over here. This is the another seta. So the plural is setae, T-A-E. Now this is the nodulus of the seta or the central part, and we have a neck on the top and a base which is embedded in the satigerous sac. Now here you can see the presence of the longitudinal muscles, and there are some special muscles. One is a retractor muscle which pulls back the seta into the sac, and there is one protractor muscle which everts out the seta. So that simply means that this seta can come inside the satigerous sac. It can be everted out also with the help of these muscles. So we have got the circular muscles of the wall of the earthworm. This is the outermost cuticle which is present everywhere. So that is the arrangement of the setae in the epidermal sacs or the satigerous sacs of the earthworm. Now if we talk about the arrangement of the setae onto the earthworm, so there can be two types of arrangements. First type is the pericatine type of arrangement, in which the setae are present in the ring form all over the segment except the dorsal and the ventral side. And second type of arrangement is the lumbricine arrangement, in which the setae are present in pairs, and two pairs are on the dorsolateral sides and two pairs are on the ventrolateral sides. But in the case of earthworm, we have the pericatine arrangement. The first type of arrangement is seen in the earthworm. So we are concerned with the pericatine arrangement of the setae in earthworm. If we talk about the morphology of this animal, so it starts with the mouth. So first of all, we have the mouth on the very top. And the first segment on which the mouth is present, it is the peristomium. So this is very, very important to note. The peristomium is the first segment. If you see this particular diagram which is present on the lower side, so here you can very well see the presence of the mouth. This is the mouth, and this is the segment where the mouth is present. So this is peristomium, and there is a modification of peristomium which is called as a prostomium. Pro refers to before. So first comes the prostomium, then comes the mouth which is on the peristomium. So peristomium is the first segment, whereas the prostomium is just a modification which hangs over the mouth. So you should be very particular with this, that the peristomium is the first segment of the earthworm. Now coming back to the morphology, after the mouth, the peristomium, we have got some pores which are present on 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th segments, and these are called as the spermathecal pores. Now here you can find the spermathecal pores. So these are present on the annuli of the 5th, 6th, 6th, 7th, 7th, 8th and 8th, 9th segment. So these are 4 pairs. 4 are on the left side, 4 are on the right side. So these are called as the spermathecal pores. And these are ventrolateral in position. As you can here see that they are not seen on the dorsal side. So they are present on the ventral side. Now these spermathecal pores, they are the openings of the spermathecae. Now what are spermathecae? These are bag-like structures which are present inside these pores, and they are receiving the sperms during the fertilization. So what happens when one earthworm fertilizes with the second earthworm, it pours its sperms into these spermathecal pores, and those sperms will be stored here in the bag-like structures which are called as the spermathecae. If we go further, next we have the dorsal pores. Now we are coming towards the dorsal side of the earthworm. So here you can see that these are the dorsal pores, and they are starting from the segment number 12. So behind the 12th segment, they are present in all the segments, and they are present on the dorsal side, and they are not present on the last segment. So this is very important thing. So they are starting from the 12th segment and they are present all over the body except the last anal segment. So these are the dorsal pores from which the syllabic fluid is excreted out as per the defense purpose is concerned. Now after these pores, we have got the clitellum. So now we have the segment number 14, 15 and 16. So these are very important segments. In segment number 14, the very first segment of clitellum, we have got the female genital pore. So this is a thing to note, that this pore is the female genital pore, and the ova of this earthworm, they are coming out of this particular pore. So that will be taken in the reproductive system also. But as we are discussing the morphology, so we have to study all these pores over here. Now, segment number 14th has got a female genital pore. Segment number 15th and 16th, they don't have anything. They don't have any pore over them. And now comes the segment number 17, 18 and 19th. So these are again very important segments. Now again I am zooming into this particular picture. So from here we have got, this is the segment number 17th, this is the segment number 18th, and this is the segment number 19th. Now here in segment number 17 and 19, we have got two pairs of genital papillae. So if I go back and demarcate these papillae, these are this one and this one, this one and this one. So these are the two pairs of genital papillae present in segment number 17 and 19. So what is present in the segment number 18? So this is the segment number 18 in the center. So these are the two male genital openings. So this is a very, very important structure. In 14th, we had the female genital pore. In 18th, we have got the two male genital pores. And on the peripheries, on 17 and 19, we have got the genital papillae. Now, these genital papillae, they are actually the outpores of accessory glands. And those accessory glands are producing a sticky fluid which helps the earthworms to stick together during fertilization. So that was about these particular reproductive segments of the earthworm. Here in this diagram, you can also see the presence of the female genital aperture. This is on segment number 14th, and this diagram is not appropriate. It has shown genital papillae on the next segment, but genital papillae are present on 17 and 19, and in between these genital papillae we have got the male genital aperture on segment number 18th. So that was those were the reproductive pores of the earthworm which were present on these segments. Next type of pores which are present in the earthworm are the nephridiopores. So students, these are the pores which are present on the whole body of the earthworm everywhere except the first two segments. So these are called as the nephridiopores, and these are the openings of the nephridia, and nephridia are the cells of excretion. So these nephridiopores are present all over the body of the earthworm. In the morphology, the very last part is the anus, and that is present on the very tip, the posterior tip of the animal, and this particular segment is called as the anal segment. So anus is a split or a slit-like aperture which can be closed or opened for defecation. So students, with this we end with the morphology of this particular animal. Thank you.